Hey, this is Natalie, founded CEO of She's Taking a Life Back, and I'm here joined by trauma addiction recovery coach Sonia. And today we decided to do something a little bit different. Today we decided to come and talk about the holidays. The holidays, particularly for someone that experienced trauma. We have things to share. We want to make sure that, you're in that place of safety because we know what the holidays mean for people who experience trauma. So we're just going to talk a little bit about that. We're not going to do our full hour talk show. We're just going to do a half hour. That's the goal. My team and I always talk about, time, and we laugh when we try to stick to a time frame. But tonight, we're going to do this half hour because we're both, and like everyone else is preparing for Thanksgiving tomorrow, right? So, Gay, who am I? I'm Natalie. I'm the founder and CEO of She's Taking Her Life Back. And for those who don't know what that's about, it is just based on my experience of trauma, and wanting to give back and share and educate other women how they can navigate through trauma. But not just getting out of situations like domestic violence or a situation where you're being sexually assaulted, because I'm going to leave that to the therapist who are well equipped to do that. But what we talk about as She's Taking a Life Back is reframing or changing or improving the trauma mindset that is left behind after you leave those experiences. That's what we talk about here, because we know women like us, once we leave those situations and things become a little bit more stable in your life, you start beginning to think about, what do I want to do with my life now? And a lot of us struggle with trying to get to those places we want to be. And we struggle because of procrastination, and we struggle because of self-sabotage. And that has a lot to do with the trauma mindset. So that's where we help out. But I have other coaches besides myself because I'm not just a CEO and founder. I am a trauma mindset coach. And along with me, we have on our team trauma addiction recovery coach, Sonia Renteria. And Sonia's going to speak to what she does for the team and what we're going to do for you women in the holidays if you find yourself in the situations we're going to talk about tonight. And we're going to give you some coping skills on how to deal with this holiday time. So hopefully you join us. If you have any questions, hit us up in the chat. And also differently, what I'm doing today is actually putting the talk show on my Facebook page. For those who don't know it, Lord, my page got hacked. So I had to restart my page. But those who are on it now, you're going to have the benefit of seeing what happens on the talk show. Right. And then after that, we're going to tag Sonia's page. So we're going to get this message out to many people as we can. Right. So thank you for joining us tonight. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. I just want to say that. I want to take a moment. It is so important that, for us, that we get the message out to as many women as we can. And even some men can benefit from what we talk about, but we mainly talk to women. So if anything that we say tonight, or anything you see on our pages, or anything you may view when you come to our YouTube channel, and you feel that it's resonating with you, that it's touching your heart, that you believe you want to hear more of, subscribe. Not only subscribe, like, and don't forget to hit that notification bell, because that's going to notify you when we have more talk shows, when we have more videos uploaded. So make sure you do that, because we're trying to grow this channel. So again, if you like what you hear tonight, hit the subscribe button. Hit it. So I'm going to pause right now before I go into topic and let Sonia introduce herself.
Okay. Hi, hello, and welcome to our YouTube channel. She's taking her life back. This is Trauma Addiction Recovery Coach. Remember, this is a women's word talk show. So I am Trauma Addiction Recovery Coach Sonia, and I specialize in supporting women who have experienced addiction as a trauma response. With my own expertise and overcoming various traumas and navigating the path of recovery, I am passionate to empower women and my clients to move forward and create a healthy and fulfilling future. And I always remind you, ladies, I do not see addiction directly, but I do provide techniques and
Yes.
tools to help my clients break free from self-limited beliefs and find purpose.
Yes. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. Thank you. And I just wanted to say, as far as like Thanksgiving is concerned, I'm not even home anymore. I am here at my daughter's house, my younger daughter's house in Tennessee, because we're celebrating Thanksgiving this year at her house, and she's hosting it. So if you hear some noise in the background, just know there's my grandchildren or one of the adults in the other room just talking loud. So just be mindful of that. But it's okay, because this is about Thanksgiving. This is about going home. This is about being with family and friends, and that's what we're doing here, right? So I just wanted to share that. So today's topic, this is what we're going to talk about, and Sonia and I are going to talk about from different perspectives. We're going to talk about what it means to go home on Thanksgiving to places where you may have experienced trauma in the past, or around family members that you had experiences with trauma. And because often, not so much anymore, because we're becoming more self-aware as a community, as a nation, when it comes to the world of trauma. We're becoming more educated. But the history has been is that for some people, even though you experience trauma in your home, you experience trauma by different family members, you experience trauma by going home to the neighborhoods, and you may risk running into someone that you had experiences of trauma with. you know some of us tell to say, I have to go anyway. I have to go home because this is my family and this is Thanksgiving. So all those things I may encounter, I still have to go home. I still have to. People are feeling that way. So if you're feeling that way, we want to talk about that, right? We really want to talk about that. We also want to talk about, if you are someone who's deciding, what? I decided to take care of me, and I made a decision that I'm not going home. I'm not going to put myself in the front of people who have traumatized me, and that's okay also. So either way, whatever decision you make, it's okay. So whether you're there and you decided to go home, we want to share some things that's going to help you, and it helped us in our lives. If you decide not to go home, we want to share some coping things about not being around your family, feeling left out because you're not there, but you made a decision that you're going to make sure you take care of you, even at the expense of not being around your family. Either one is okay for us. Either one, you can get through it, either way. So Sonia, let's talk about um, the traditional people are deciding to go home. They're deciding to go home, and they may experience some trauma with family members. Now, I want to be more detailed when I talk about trauma. I want to be real clear, because we talk about real stuff on this channel, on this talk show. We keep it real. So when I say trauma, you may be going home into a family member that you experience domestic violence, right? And well, when it comes to family, they call it family violence. You may be going home to that. You may be going home to a mother that you don't get along with, you know what I mean? But you just, feel loyal to your family, that you're going home for Thanksgiving. But you have to face your mother, who may have had traumatized you in your childhood, whether it was physical abuse, whatever it was. You also may be faced with, not with your mother, but somebody else that may be sitting at that Thanksgiving table, whether it's an uncle, whether it's a neighbor, and you have to experience that. And for some people, that can be re-traumatizing. But you feel still loyal to be going home, and even though you got to be in the midst of us, So, Sonia, I want to have a conversation with you and I, and people who are viewing now, or people who may be viewing the replay. Like, have you been in that kind of situation before? Let's talk about that first before we talk about the tips. Have you been in those situations? Are you in that situation where today you're on your way home thinking about, I got to face so and so? And even if it's not in your family, because it may not be in your family, you have to go back home into the neighborhood where you may run into that man that you had some domestic violence experience with. You may be going home, and in the neighborhood, it was that person who sexually assaulted you when you were young, and you have to pass through the neighborhood. And we know as coaches that even not even seeing the person, but seeing the places that you've been through is enough to trigger some things. So we want to support you with that. So what do you think about that, Sonia?
I want uh, I want to talk a little bit about this, Natalie, because that's something that I experienced recently. on my
Mm,
wedding. And I'm
okay.
going to say this. I have great communication, and I have great support from my family. When I say my family, it's my immediate family. My
Mm,
father, my brothers, my sisters, my
okay.
nieces, and my
Mm,
nephews that are, just my immediate family. Great
mm,
relationship. I come over, there's no drinking, no party. I have one or two niece, or my brother that do drink. My other family know they're very, godly and respectful. But
mm,
I have other family members, and this is from my dad and my brothers and sisters. I have other family members from my mother's side, right? And I'm
okay.
gonna talk openly because I know I have family members that follow me, that they follow She's Taking Her Life Back.
Okay.
And without disrespect to nobody, they know my situation. So I'm gonna say I had to do something that is called establishing boundaries. Okay, I had to. And when I
Yes.
say this, lady, it is crucial to set clear boundaries with family and friends. Prioritize
Yes.
your well being by communicating your needs and ensuring you avoid situations that may trigger or stress or even tempt you. If you're
Yes.
in your journey and your path to recovery and you know certain situations, it's better to say no. And if you feel like somebody tells you, it's going to be okay, just make sure you set your boundaries. That way, if somebody breaks those, have a backup plan where you can say, this is my plan B. It didn't work out this way. Let me call somebody. I need to talk to
Excellent.
this.
Excellent. Excellent. But
So
yeah, I
me,
just want to interject for a moment,
yes,
Sonia, before you go back, because you introduced a different topic, and which is so important, and I want to make sure we revisit it, because I had mentioned domestic violence, I had mentioned sexual assault, but now you're introducing addiction. People who are maybe alcoholics or addicts who are going home to family members who are maybe drinking. It's the holiday; they're going to be drinking. So is that the topic you're talking about now?
yes, yes. I mean, I know you were talking about domestic violence. As a trauma addiction recovery coach, I got to
Yes.
let my women know that it's very important
Yes.
to, yourself, your well being comes first. And I'm
Mm,
saying this because when you were talking about domestic violence and all that, child abuse, Natalie, all them traumas, because
yeah.
we say trauma goes a long way. It's different type of
Mhm.
traumas. It can be verbally,
Absolutely.
physically.
Absolutely.
So I had experience with the physical abuse, the sexual abuse as a child. So when my wedding came, I was able to speak to my family and say, I want you all to know that this person is not allowed in my wedding. You know,
Mm, mm,
and this
mm.
is how I want it. It's only,
Yeah.
and they said it's your wedding and it's
Awesome.
your, but when you're going on the holidays, it's different because it's all the family. Somebody's gonna invite a friend, they're gonna invite that other one. So I want the ladies to be open-minded because there might be
Mm.
somebody from your ex relationship that still talks to your cousin or your
Yes.
sister, and you were in an abusive relationship, and you might walk into that party and this person shows up, and like
Yeah.
Nani says, and you feel triggered, like, why is this person here? So just
Mhm.
be open to the idea that if you have to leave, it's okay. You don't
Yes. Say that again, Sonia. Say that
have
again.
to leave, it's okay.
It's
You
okay.
don't owe nothing to nobody. You don't have to stay there to make family feel good. If
Right.
they say, oh, you're a party pooper, you're leaving,
Right.
it's okay. Let them believe that because
Hmm.
your well being comes first. Your
Right.
mental state of mind comes first.
Yeah, and maybe they can leave. Like I'll leave after that until that person leaves, and then I'll come back. You know,
Mhm.
they can do something like that. But you're right. It's okay to say, you know what, this is too much for me. It's triggering me. I think I need to leave. I need to separate myself. And I like what you said, Sonia, when you were talking about. Um, and I want to talk about that too because that affects my life. And it affects your life. Like you're going home, and people are drinking, and you're in recovery. you
Absolutely.
know that could be a real traumatizing situation for people. So how have you handled that, Sonia?
Okay, this is me, Natalie. Even though my sobriety, I wasn't into the drink. Like we always say, oh well, I don't drink, so it's okay. I don't see it that way. I actually think that my recovery is very important to me. And if I say, because this happened to me before in the past times when I used to have my relapse. Since I don't drink, mine is drug abuse. So I can drink, but then when you drink, it's like, well, now I need a little more, some stronger. This really is not working out for me, and that's really how the mind plays. This is not what we want. This is not what it's asking. for the other, because we have that little thing in the back of the mind that you said that's always telling you this is not, we want something else. But I always say, when you go around other people, if you feel that you have the strength that you can be around people, because I know there's a lot of people that can be around people, family
Mhm,
members are drinking,
mhm,
and you're like, I'll
mhm,
have a soda, I'll have a virgin drink, because right,
mhm,
you said
mhm.
we'll have some virgin drinks for your wedding.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay. But if you feel that it's too much, that you can't handle it, you need to call it a night. That's how I say it. Or if
Mhm.
you feel that it was already talked, there wasn't going to be no liquor, and you were going to go, and you went with the mentality that they already said there's no liquor, and you go, and then somebody starts, don't, sometimes we feel offended. And I
Mhm.
understand, because it was already talked. That's why we say communication. If you talk to the family, hey, I'm bringing my partner, he don't drink, he's in recovery, and then everybody starts popping bottles, I
Mhm.
feel disrespected. I'm going to walk out
Mhm.
and leave. I'm gonna
Mhm.
say, hey, we talked about this, but
Mhm.
I feel like if you're in a situation where you feel that you're okay and everything is going well, but at the point where you start feeling that little red flag go beep beep beep, that you feel like you're getting anxiety, you have,
Yes.
oh, you're thinking about it. Maybe I think it's time to, if you have what we call our support group, or you can call a friend, that family member, call them and say, hey, you know what, we're over
Yes.
here, I'm thinking about having a drink, what you think? Because that real support group, then people that are with you in your recovery, that have support, they're going to tell you it's a no.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I need to come pick you up. Call somebody that can come pick you up, that you feel more comfortable, that you're gonna, it's for you to enjoy yourself, not
Yes.
something that's gonna make you regret it and fall back.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And it's
That's
not
some good
only,
stuff.
yes, it's not only the drinking part, Natalie. Like, I have, from the side of my husband's side, most people, it is normal for them to smoke weed. It's
Right.
normal. You can go
Mhm.
to any event and they smoke weed. There's like, it's normal, it's legal in
Right.
all this other places. I
Mhm.
don't smoke it, so I don't. I My husband and me discussed it. Why would I go around somebody that is smoking? Even though I don't smoke, I don't want to be around that.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
make me feel better. I don't want to prove nothing to nobody. So if I can avoid myself from certain places and things, that's what I do.
Absolutely, and be okay with it.
Yes,
Yeah,
and be okay with
I
it.
think one of the things, and I want to speak to people who are like in early recovery, Sonia, because we've been in recovery for a couple of years.
Right.
We've been for a while. But I was thinking as you were talking, I was going back to like my early recovery when I first got into recovery, when I first started to stay clean and sober. I remember like learning different tools and tips and those situations, like when you have to go to funerals, on the holidays, at weddings, and all of that. What do you do? And you mentioned something. One of the things you can do if you find yourself that's early in recovery, whether you're recovering from alcohol and drugs, or you find yourself early in just out of a domestic violence situation, or know you're going to face that person that you experience family violence or sexual assault with, bring somebody.
Hmm.
Bring somebody. Ask one of your friends, look, I'm going home, I'm not comfortable, and I don't know if I'm gonna run into so and so. I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of alcohol in there and I'm doing recovery. Invite somebody that you know could be of support. Like Sonia said, support is so important. Bring that person so that they can be a distraction for you. So when you encounter that person, or you feel that family members are drinking, and you're feeling a type of way, have that support system say to you, come on, let's go outside. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go somewhere else. One of the things I do love, which is a great resource, is that, nowadays, like online Alcoholics Anonymous meetings are the norm. Online Narcotics Anonymous meetings are the norm. So if you're in the house and like you can't go outside for whatever reason, depends on the location, go to the back room, get on your phone and get into an online Narcotics Anonymous meeting. Get into an online Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, because the beautiful thing about that is for people who decide, what, they're going to go home or not go home. They know that there is a meeting out there, and the meeting's so focused on the holidays. They could be a big source of support. Like, I need to go in the back room and I need to really get that support. I need to get some tips. I need to separate myself. 12-step meetings are available.
Really.
Friends are available, coaches are available, people that you can talk to. So be prepared, with those numbers. Like Sonia said, if plan A doesn't work, have a plan B, have a plan C. Have them phone numbers in your pocket. You know what I mean? Make a
Yeah.
plan if you need to remove yourself, right? So those are some of the things that you can do. I also want to talk about, particularly about people who experience domestic violence or sexual assault, and you're going to run into that person. I've had that experience years ago, and when I ran into that person, all of a sudden I just froze.
Froze.
I completely, like, like a deer in headlights, I froze. And after that, like, the anxiety was just really, really high in me, and I just felt so uncomfortable. And what I've learned since then, years ago, is using grounding techniques. There's some things that you can do to bring yourself back to a place of relatively calmness. It's not going to be totally calm because you ran into somebody who was your past abuser, but you can do things like grounding. And what grounding is doing things like, okay, let me put my feet flat on the floor. Let me just look at where I'm at. I'm in this room. I'm in this place. Remind yourself, I'm in this state. This is what I'm doing. Those things will remind you and ground you back into focus, and it'll help lower your anxiety. It may not take it away, but it'll lower it to help make it more manageable. So that's something you can do, some grounding techniques. Another thing you can do, and I still use today, and it seems so trivial, and it's called deep breathing. And I think it seems trivial because people don't know how to breathe correctly. I can tell you this, the breathing is awesome for me, because if you do it correctly, what it has to do, it has a way of, what they call that, re-regulating your emotion, because when you experience high anxiety, your emotion gets dysregulated, and you feel like you're all over the place. And deep breathing, if you do it correctly, like, to the point you are filling up your lungs, holding it for a minute, and
Yeah.
releasing it slowly. Some people have to do it once, some people have to do it 5 times, some people have to do it. However, and I can feel it even right now, that one time, if you do it correctly, it'll begin to lower your anxiety. It'll bring you into that space of calm, relaxation, slowly but surely. It works. I think the people who say, look, breathing doesn't work, they're doing this. They're not breathing correctly. And that's
Yeah.
why they don't feel that place of calm. They don't
Hmm.
feel it. So one thing, breathing, what you can do if you're not doing it correctly or don't know, have a meditation tape with you. Have a breathing app downloaded on your phone, and let them guide you through it while you're there in the back room. Go to the bathroom. Like, I got to go to the next room. I got to go to the bathroom, and just do those things. I even remember, I do know that some people think like, why I gotta do all of that? Why? Because you're taking care of yourself. You don't know what you're gonna feel or how you're gonna respond. One, if you see a lot of alcohol, you're not gonna know if you smell some marijuana in the back, in the back room. You don't know what you're going to do if you run into that abuser. You don't know how you're going to respond, because you can respond differently at different times. You need to protect yourself with coping skills, particularly during the holidays. Particularly during the holidays. Anything you want to add to that, Sonia?
Yes, Natalie, when you were talking about grind, uh,
The grounding techniques.
the grounding technique,
Mhm.
the grounding technique. I remember when I started a long time when I was on my unhealthy relationship and my abusive relationship. I
Mhm.
remember when I started my therapy, I used to wear a rubber band on my wrist, and when I started zoning out, I,
Yes,
I
that's a
would
good
pull my
one.
rubber band and it would bring me back.
Yes,
And I still
excellent.
remember that to this day. So yes, the grounding technique
I'm
really
sorry,
works.
can you repeat that again? Because I love that too. Can you say it one more time? Can you explain that to the
Yes,
audience?
when I was starting my recovery from my domestic violence and my abuse, I used to carry a rubber band on my wrist, and every time I was in a situation, if it was on the bus in the street and somebody was arguing and I felt threatened, or
Yeah.
I started having flashbacks and zoning
Mhm.
out of my whole space, I would start pulling my rubber band, and it would always
Right.
bring me back. So okay, I'm safe. It ain't got nothing to do with me, and
Yeah.
would always bring me back. So there's different types of grounding. Some people use the
Mhm.
pinching,
Yes.
but I
Yes.
used to love the rubber band. the rubber
Yeah,
band. And
yeah,
now, as I've
yeah,
grown and learned this, I like I like this. I don't know why. It brings me back. I always, even if I'm laying on my bed and I start and I can hear Ronald, but I'm really not here. So I start rolling my finger, and he already knows. He said, "Baby, what's going on?" And so
yes,
bring
yes.
myself back. But those are things that I like, and they actually help me relax as well.
Yeah, yeah, I have something that I do. Like if you're in a situation and you don't want anybody to see anybody, you doing this just in case. What I used to do and I think is a great coping skill is like with your feet, like scrunch your feet up really, really tight, like squeeze, because you're just trying to hold on to something. Squeeze your feet really tight in your shoes. That works. That helps. I mean, I've used that one many times in the past. I want to talk about. Well, before we do that, I want to talk about my personal situation also, because Sonia shared hers. Let me give you an example. Like here, I'm at my daughter's house in Tennessee, my younger daughter's house, and I'm here with my oldest daughter, my grandchildren, our family friend, my daughter's boyfriend, his mother and father. We all here, and on the table they have drinks.
Hmm.
They got drinks. I already knew they were going to drink. They have drinks, right? Um, what I've learned to do, and I've been clean and sober for next month will be 35 years, right?
Wow.
So, and to be honest, it doesn't affect me like it used to, but still in my mind, I know what I got to do. But in the meantime, what I've learned to do is I've learned to like have virgin drinks available for myself. So like this morning, they start off like 10 o'clock this morning drinking mimosas. So,
Hmm.
my daughter, they know they prepare for me. I have like a couple of bottles of sparkling cider, right? And then what they did is pour one of them into the orange juice to make my own little mimosa, I've learned to do that over the years, like, because every now and then I like to go to the club, I like to dance, I like to do those things. So while I'm there, in my mind, I have my drink that I'm gonna order. And it's a virgin pina colada or many virgin drinks. I do that now. And also, I believe me, even though with almost 35 years in clean and sober, I still have it in my mind. Like, we still can't drink. I was having a conversation with a family friend yesterday, before we came up here to Tennessee, and I was explaining to her, like, I know a lot of people with clean time, they decide they want to take a drink and it's okay with them. What really, I don't want to delve into a different subject, but really keeps me focused on not relapses. One, I always like take care of my emotions. That's number one. If I can take care of my emotions, I don't have to worry about leading into like wanting to drink or use drugs or any of those things. Um, but at the same time, like I don't fool myself to thinking I can take that one drink. And my family knows how I feel about that. So yeah, you're going to be in situations, after a while when you have years in recovery, the people in the world drink. I'm definitely not going no place they doing drugs. I'm not going into no bars. I don't do that kind of thing. But there'll be situations that people around me drink. So what do? I have my little drink, my virgin drinks. I have that. So and that works for me, and my family knows, that I'm in recovery. But I want to share this one thing that came up in the conversation yesterday, and I was sharing with the person, like, people in recovery laugh when I say recovery. People who are abstinent from drugs and alcohol and living that kind of lifestyle, we laugh because when you go home for Thanksgiving, you may be encountered with people like, oh, be careful, so and so doesn't drink. Be careful. Oh, does this bother you? And I was telling
Yes.
my friend, that is so annoying.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to. I was saying, we as people in recovery, we know what we're not supposed to do. We don't need reminders for everybody in the family. And I was explaining, when family members do that, they think they're being helpful, but you're making the person feel so uncomfortable.
Comfortable.
So, like, you sure you're okay? Is this gonna bother you? Maybe we need to take this to the other room. Just imagining how that person is feeling. So I explained to her, like, over the years, I've had conversations with people in recovery because I used to feel that way. Don't be doing all of that. I don't want to come to Thanksgiving dinner and have to feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
I know that I can't drink. We all know I can't. We don't need all of that. Don't do all of that. So I can imagine that some people may be identifying with that who just heard that. Can you identify with that, Sonia?
Yes.
Isn't that
Yes.
annoying?
Yes, it is. It is
Oh,
annoying. And I'm gonna give you
Point.
another one, Natalie. Another one that this I cut certain people off my block a long time ago when I came to Georgia and started my recovery. After
Mhm.
I left the recovery center and I started on my own and living on my own apartment,
Mhm.
there was a person, I'm not going to mention names or what relationship we have, but we used to
Okay.
talk on the phone. And this person would ask me for money randomly. I know what the money was for because
Right.
this person used to use, as I used to, and I used to tell this person, come over here, go to
Mhm.
recovery. You can stay at my place. I help you out. I want you to do better. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm thinking about it. But then it got to a point where one day it was like, oh, you came to Laredo and, and you didn't stop by. You didn't even
Mhm.
come visit. I said, because I don't want to put myself in a situation or in a place where I know everything that's going around. And her response was like, oh, yeah, you're clean now. You're better than us. So
Oh, that's another. Yes.
I removed this person from because I said, I don't feel that I'm better than nobody, but I'm going to say it like this, and I don't want to offend nobody. I am in a better place.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yes, I am.
Absolutely.
So if that makes you feel bad, because it made
Mhm.
me feel bad in the past seeing other people, I wanted to get there. You could get the help too. So don't
Yeah.
blame me because you're still in the same position because there's a lot of places it's whenever you're ready. I can't make you do nothing, but I can't afford for you to be putting me down and making me feel like, oh, now I feel that I'm better. Oh, I don't
Mhm.
talk to you no more. I cannot put myself in that situation because I know that my clean time is only gonna last a few months and I'm gonna go back
Yeah.
because it's always gonna be something, a reminder, some issue that is gonna go through me, a trauma, and then that's
Mhm.
gonna be my coping. I didn't want that. So I had to remove certain people. And
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
holidays, Natalie, because we going off the clock again. I just want to say something else about this. Also, when we experience trauma,
Mhm.
abuse, physical, verbally. Sometimes you can be at a family reunion where there's family members that always have that altercations.
Yeah.
They always gotta somebody's better than this or something comes out and then they start an argument. If that triggers you, if that makes you feel a certain way, I'm gonna ask you, have that plan B, like me and Natalie were talking about. Have
Yeah.
that other sister, brother, cousin, friend that you can call and say, or if it's there on the party that say, hey, I need to get out of here because this is giving me anxiety. This is making me feel uncomfortable. Everybody arguing, screaming.
Yeah.
If your family won't feel like, oh, you're leaving, oh, everything is calmed down. I My suggestion to you is
Mhm.
go where you feel safe, where you feel comfortable,
Yeah.
and don't be ashamed of it. Love
Yeah. Thank you.
yourself,
That's wow.
be
That's
a
good, good
success.
stuff. Good stuff, Sonia. Yeah, I'm watching the clock too. Like we're past half hour, but I'm gonna say that we gonna get off in a few minutes. But I want to say this. Two things. One of the things that will come up sometimes for family members when they go home is having family members and friends remind you how you used to be.
Mhm.
Like, remember we at the table. Remember you did this. Remember,
Mhm.
be real careful and not to sit there and say, yeah, yeah, that was me, because inside we know that we don't like that. So it's okay to set those boundaries, like Sonia mentioned earlier, and say, you know what, that's who I used to be. That is not me anymore.
Mhm.
And hopefully they get the message like, this is not funny. Let's end the conversation. But I find that sometimes people are uncomfortable saying that to family members. So when they bring up past experience or what you did when you were drunk or high, people sit there and laugh along with them, and you don't have to.
It's not.
You don't need to hear that. I want to quickly segue into if you decide not to go. Sonia just mentioned that, about cutting people off. Sometimes a cutoff means that I made a decision. I'm not even going home for Thanksgiving. I'm not going home. I know everybody usually gathers, but I'm not doing that. That is a hard decision to make, and I applaud anyone who can do that. I support you if you decide I'm not going home. There are times you may get some backlash of family members, like Sonia said, "Oh, you too good to come home for Thanksgiving," or people will get offended. But at the end of the day, I've learned years ago that I have to take care of me. I have to be happy, even at the risk of other people being angry with me. I have to cut people off. And even if it includes family members, if it's going to risk my recovery. If it's going to risk me running into that person who I had domestic violence experience or family violence experience, if I run into that, if I risk running into that person who sexually assaulted me when I was a child, I'm not going, and it's okay. I'm not going. I'll decide to spend time with someone else. I'll create a new experience, even if they're not my biological family. So I just want to make sure we included that conversation because it's okay to make that decision. Like, yeah, family members may not like it, but you have to take care of you. Don't put yourself in situations to be triggered just because you want to be loyal to your family. You don't have to do that. We can create new family, new friendships, and to spend the holidays. You want any last words, Sonia, before we get off?
No, before we get off, I just want to tell everybody that as we go through this holidays together, remember that your well-being is a priority. Stay connected, utilize your coping strategies, and reach out for support when
Yeah.
needed. You've come a long way on your recovery, and your commitment in your recovery is very important, and we
Yes.
commend you for that. So I am here for support. Natalie's here. She's
Yes.
taking her life back, even though we are with family. We always checking our messages. We always checking. She's checking her life back. Inbox us if anything. We
Yes.
can reach out, but always have that 1-800 number. Always have that number in hand that you can call that family member, that friend that you know is gonna come, that has your back, that is gonna come and be there. Eh, just
Yes.
remember, ladies, that you are loved, that you are strong, and
Yes.
you are beautiful.
Yes. And you're worth it. So take your life back. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This is our special short segment. We did pretty good, Sonia. It wasn't
Yes.
30 minutes, but it was what, 36 minutes? We did pretty good.
Yes. You did good.
So happy Thanksgiving, Sonia. Happy Thanksgiving to you and
Happy
your
Thanksgiving
family.
to you
We
too.
also want to say happy Thanksgiving to Coach Julia. She's out there traveling with her family. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And we will see you
Happy
next
Thanksgiving.
week for a full hour of our Women's Work Talk
Let's
Show.
talk to you.
So join us. Remember to subscribe, like,
Bye. Like.
subscribe. All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Hello?